All right, market update here on the 24th for the week. Starting here with Tesla. Let's look at the moving averages on the daily time frame. We are still below every moving average. We have the 20 up here at 180, 50 above that, and 200 is way up here at 233. So we're trading way below the 200. You go back here. We typically cross it, so we're pretty far below it for right now. So I think a good bounce is coming. That's first topic of Tesla. So now we looked at this, and 148 was the max target. We hit 160. That was in monthly demand. We bounced. So what do we got going on here? Don't remember where we were at last week at this time for the video. We were on the 17th. So I was looking for a pullback and another move higher. What I think happened is this is more than likely a first wave right here. This could be the fifth wave right here as well. It did go quite a bit higher than the top here, and it hit this gap fill. But it's a very corrective move. So my count on this is actually A, B, and we're making a C wave down. And actually my number one scenario is this. We got a gap down here at 163. So I wouldn't be surprised if this falls one more time down here to 163. That would be about a 4% drop or so. If we zoom in here on lower time frames, you can't see this on higher time frames, but I have it all worked out here. We have 1, 2, we get a big move down. That could have been potentially a third wave, but we come back into the first wave. So this has to be a nested move. So we have 1, 2, the 1.61 fib right around here. That's wave 3. Pull back for wave 4. And then we make this move down here for wave 5. This is probably supposed to be a wave 5, but it's truncated. I think that's wave 3 right there. And then we made this long drawn out move right here. We do have a gap at 172, but I think that the most likely scenario is, again, this. Down here, you can see the 1.61 fib of AB is down here at 161. But we have this demand zone between 161.82 and 164. The actual gap is at 163. So I'm expecting downside early in the week. We do have a gap right here. This gap was filled. So you're kind of playing between these two boxes unless there's some kind of like positive news that makes it spike right away. That's what I'm thinking as most likely. If I'm wrong on this count, there's always a possibility that it bottomed right here, and then this would end up being potentially wave 1, wave 2, kind of like that. But I find that it's probably going to come down here and fill this gap. It usually doesn't leave gaps open very often. So wouldn't be surprised to get some negative news tomorrow. I don't know what they put out this time. They've had news lined up for months now. Whatever they want to put out to make the stock tank for, half a day or so, and then we're ready for the third wave. My target after that is going to be 184 minimum. And probably this gap fill at 188. And if you remember, this is a C wave, so I'm expecting this to play out as 5 waves. Potentially hit 200. Maybe even going into earnings, we hit 200. So we'll see what happens. But that is pretty much the layout I see. I don't see this spiking right away. It doesn't really make sense, the structure. Usually when you get a big move down like this, it does immediately just reverse. So expect a gap fill at 163. Invalidation on that would be right up here at 174.92. So that's Tesla. Apple, I'm actually bullish on this short term. It sold off on Friday pretty hard on that DOJ news. But you can see here I have it labeled A. I have this labeled B. I wouldn't be surprised to get some kind of move like this. And then that could potentially still be a fourth wave. It could be the end of this move too. I have it labeled two ways. If it holds 165, this could still be a second wave and we make a third wave higher. Or you're looking at it like this. This does not look like an impulse move down. To me, this looks like a expanded flat B wave. So I would expect something higher here, short term, maybe all the way up to 179 and fill this gap, and then it could come down, or it could actually be a third wave. Actually, it can't be a third wave. Now I'm thinking about it. This is going to be. It can't be a third wave because you can't start with a diagonal on a third wave. So I would say more than likely it's going to come down, but short term I'm pretty bullish after that sell-off on Friday. Google. So let's just go on the shorter time frames on this. It's a tough one. So remember, you hit the 1.61 fib here. That looked like a B wave. I was saying this could be a diagonal. So it technically could be this, or we're still in a C wave somehow. Trying to think how that would play out. The C wave could be finished right here as well, but probably not because this does not look like an impulse move to me. So, yeah, it's either diagonal or it's going to come down farther, maybe back down here to weekly demand, but that's going to need a market sell-off. So short term, kind of in no man's land. You have this gap fill that I just filled right here at 152. So I would lean towards this gap fill down here at 142. But there's a gap right here as well. Maybe only 149. So let's go ahead and mark the supply and demand areas. So below you're looking at 148 to 149. Above you're looking at right here. It already hit that area. So you're basically playing between these two levels right here. So where it's at, I would say it's pretty bearish. But again, if the market goes higher, it's probably going to blast through there and make a fifth wave. So again, kind of a weird structure, but I think that it's probably done. If the market falls, though, it could end up doing something like this. I don't think so, but maybe back down here to weekly demand. But it already did that. So we'll see what happens with Google. Those are the levels I would watch. Microsoft's already in a third wave. I think I ruled out pretty much that this is a B wave like the other ones. If it was, it's already gone past the 1.61 fib. I think it still has a chance to go higher for this third wave. So that's what I'm looking for on Microsoft. Doesn't look like it can be a B wave now. So look for more upside on Microsoft. NVDA can either be in a 5-wave move for the final move higher, or it can be an ABC move. Let's zoom in here a little bit. So this could be the fourth wave right here, or that's the A wave. So we're looking at this like A, B, See, that's not really that bearish either because it's going to go up after that. Or we're looking at this as 5 waves. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That could be potentially the top on NVIDIA, above $1,000. So we are getting close to the end here. I said this summer, but we got to watch out here over the next month or two. At any time, there could be a big correction and catch everybody off guard. Everyone's pretty complacent right now. So I'll probably be following NVIDIA pretty closely because the market's going to follow it a lot. Obviously following Apple a lot. Microsoft is in a third wave. So yeah, let's go over. That's NVIDIA. It can be a C wave down here to daily demand, or it's in a third wave. Meta is kind of the same thing. Actually, it's the exact same thing. It's either in a B wave, like that, or it's in a third wave. So 1, 2, like that. So yeah, that's pretty much the exact same thing as NVIDIA. They're on the same path. So Meta and NVIDIA, same thing. I'm missing one. What am I missing here? Amazon. So Amazon, same thing. The exact same thing. We got, it's a little bit different, I guess, but it's either going to be this. No, that's not right. Hold on. So it's either ABC down here, could be shorter too, and then it makes 5 waves, or we're going to get continuation like this. So again, these can go both ways on all of them pretty much, but none of them are bearish right now. So you don't need to be bearish on any of these stocks right now. There's no reason to buy puts unless you're trading in and out of them. There's no reason to buy puts. It's above every moving average, extremely bullish. Nothing really else to say. Those are the structures of all the tech stocks pretty much, except for Apple and Tesla. They all pretty much are in the same spot. And then you got AMD, which sold off pretty hard. It had a pretty good finish, though, on Friday. It finished above the 50-day. If it finished below it, I'd probably say there might be some more downside. Finished above it, I am leaning towards this going higher short term. I would be looking for it to potentially all the way up here to 188, maybe 190 short term. And then that can still be in the middle of a downtrend, though. This is potentially a third wave right here. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like that. I'm actually in this stock right now because it sold off so much. And it has a lot of support there. So we have gap fills, a lot of demand zones, and it's on the outside of the standard deviation, which is a pretty good indicator of when it's going to bounce. If it comes to 165, then I'm definitely buying more because look how far it'll be extended to the downside. And that's pretty much what I'm looking for. If it comes down here to 165, then I'm saying it's probably going to bounce all the way back here to at least 200, I would think, and potentially 207 for this gap fill. So I don't think there's that much risk unless some kind of black swan pops up. But right now, I think that it's probably in a fourth wave. So this second wave is pretty short. And then you got, let's see. That right? I got third wave right here somehow. Going in on smaller time frames, I think I didn't mark this right though. But third wave right here, fourth wave up here, and then fifth wave down. So look for a bounce sometime soon. You see here on the hourly though, that it could potentially come down here to 165, and that's completely fine. But we're going to see a bounce back to 200 here soon. So then let's get into SPY and QQQ. So SPY, I'm just going to do the long-term chart or daily chart. Extremely bullish, obviously. But what is going on here? Like, is this a 5-way move or is this a WXY move? Well, if this is WXY, the max target is right here at 545. So we're only about, what is that, like 5% away from the top? So if this is WXY, which I'm actually leaning towards, 545 would be the top. But it also can be, if it's going to be an impulse move, it only makes sense if it's this. This would be a third wave. We'd have much, much more to go. So take your pick, 545, or is this an impulse move? I'm leaning towards 545 and being a WXY move, but we'll wait and see what happens. Short term on SPY, I'll give you some levels to watch. So you have a this is the closest you have for a daily demand zone, but down here at 498 would be another one that I'd be watching. There's a gap fill right there. So 498 to the downside. Let's see where these moving averages are at. And that would have to break below the 20 to get down here to the 50. And then you have the 200 way down here on the weekly. On the weekly, you're looking at there are no weekly demand zones. Went up too fast. Yeah. So this is really the only one I see. If it starts falling, it can come down pretty quickly, I think. You have the 20 on the weekly down here at 480. And then on the daily, obviously, it needs to hold a 512. But again, it's probably going to go to at least 545 before a correction. And that could actually be the top. We don't know if this is a third wave now or if this is a Y wave. So QQQ. Now, same structure as most of the tech stocks. We have potentially a ABC move. So we never came down here and filled this gap at 430. Made it to 432, did not get quite down here. So that's still in play if we get that correction on all the tech stocks. But again, it's also in play for this to be the second wave right here. And if that's the case, then it's just straight up. And it's kind of looking like this is probably going to happen. Just because, I don't know, there's no dips in this market. It just keeps on going up. So I'd be looking for 453. And if 453 hit, that would not be the top. You'd be looking for a dip. And then probably something around like 470 at least. So we could potentially be going up another 24 bucks, which is about 6%, which ironically is about what I just said. SPY 545 is about 5 or 6%. So we got to watch out. All these stocks are getting very close to the top. And I think AMD already topped out. So got to watch out. Tesla is the one wild card where I'm like, man, hopefully this keeps on going up and plays out with the C wave higher. But I'm also wondering, does it have enough time to get up to the targets in the 300s? So we'll see. We'll see what happens. And again, I'm thinking that this is potentially the top, but I could be wrong on this count right here. This is kind of a hard count right here. I do have a third and fourth wave right here. It's possible that the third wave is actually right here. So I'll be watching the correction whenever it happens. If we get an impulse move down, then I would say that that was the top. If we get a corrective move, then I'm guessing it's probably 3-4 like this. Because this move right here didn't really give you that much to work with. So if that were to happen, and let's say SPY hit 545 and we get a corrective move on QQQ, it's possible, not likely, but it's possible that SPY ends up being, I don't know about this though. Can't be possible because the max is 586. I would say that it would end up being probably a 5-wave move. So if QQQ does a corrective move after topping out right here, then SPY is probably looking like this. Pull back and then maybe another move higher after that. So it's probably in some kind of impulse move at this point. It's just hard to pinpoint exactly what it is because this came back into this wave right here. But anyway, it's probably in an impulse move because the dollar, let's go to the dollar now. I'll give you two scenarios for the dollar. The dollar has my bearish scenario is the most likely, but if it does end up breaking above 107, then I would say it is in this pattern, which is also going to be bearish because we're still going to have to make that C wave down like this. So either way, it's just bullish right now. You just got to be bullish. There's nothing to be bearish about still. And we'll see if that changes anytime soon. Again, my target is in the low 90s on this, but potentially if it comes up here to like 109, that would change my target maybe a little bit because then you're looking at it like maybe hitting right here. So I'd be looking at it like this. So maybe only like 95. So if it comes down like this though, I'm looking for 92. So I don't know how anybody can be bullish on the dollar right now. It's pretty bearish. I mean, we have spinning bills coming through like every week now. So it's got to be a bearish on the dollar. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I can look at yields real quick. And I'll look at a few other stocks actually. Let's look at like Boeing and so 10-year yield, same thing. That's what I'm looking for, like that. So I have this as I think A, B, and C, like that. So yeah, everything looks good to be bullish. I'll let you know when it's time to be bearish. Right now, despite like no pullbacks and nothing really to work with, all of these stocks are looking pretty bullish. NVDA is going above 1,000. Microsoft's probably going to 450. Google is probably going higher. Tesla's probably going to 200 at least. Amazon is probably going to at least like 190. AMD might have topped out. That's the one that might have topped out, but we'll see. And QQQ is probably going to 470 minimum. SPY is going to 545 minimum. BA. So BA had a nice bounce on Friday. So I was just kind of waiting for this to bounce to get an idea of what's going on. Haven't looked at it yet, so let's just take a look now and So clearly a impulse move. Yeah, that's bullish short term. That is bullish on Boeing short term. I'm just going to give you the levels to watch based on where we're at in the chart. So obviously we got a supply zone up here and a gap fill. So you're looking at potentially a move up here to 198.200 right there. Above that, you're looking at 207 to 209. Below it, if it falls off, you're looking down here at 181 to 179. The bottom was 177. And this looks like it already potentially finished a 5-wave move. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm just double checking to see if it is. But this actually looks pretty bullish short term. We filled the gap right here. There's a gap right here from Friday morning. And it came down here and filled the gap by the end of the day. And it made a 5-wave move. So there's a slight chance that this is actually a 4th wave. So I'd be looking at this like so potentially 198. It looks bullish short term. That's the next area I'd be watching. That is a gap fill at 198. And then if it hit 198, I'd be selling because then you're looking at you just made a 10% move, like 10 to 15% move, and I'd be looking for a pullback after that. So into this supply zone, pullback. So Boeing looks good short term. It doesn't look bearish to me at all. Obviously, on the higher time frames it is, but short term, look for 198 potentially for a gap fill. If it falls back below, you have this down here at 181. So looking good on Boeing. Potentially bottomed. Let me look at the higher time frames. Yeah, it looks good short term. It probably bottomed right here at 177. So it held this low right here at 176. As far as what it is, and standard deviation, you can see here we're at the very bottom of that range. So it's a good buy indicator as well. As far as what this is, this does look like it was impulsive down. So it is possible that we get, something like this, and then it comes down more. That's definitely possible. There is a demand zone here at 150. So that would just look like that. Let's see what the 1.61 fib is. And it's down here at 138. So yeah, it's definitely possible that this is starting though. Zoom out even farther. It's possible that this is starting a move down for a C leg. This took about 2 years and 3 months. This took about a year and a half. It's definitely possible that we are seeing this on Boeing. Not even kidding. Something like that. It's definitely possible. There's a gap down here at 70. I don't know if there's any below that, but it's definitely possible that this is going to be a second wave retrace, and you're going to see that down. So, again, this probably completed. Get rid of this. It's kind of hard to see, I guess. But it probably completed 5 waves right here without going over this. So short term, look for a little bit of upside, but I would probably not be staying in the stock long unless it confirms an impulse move. So if it confirms that, then yeah. But if we get an ABC move, I'd be getting out of it. That, I'd be out of it. So that's Boeing. I'm trying to think of anything else I'm in. I have a small position on alt. It's in demand, but I don't really like the setup that much. I think this might have already completed 5 waves. It's kind of hard to tell though. This could be an extension here. So 1, 2, 3, 4. This could be happening too. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If they get some kind of deal or get bought out, then it could fly. I'll be watching the bottom here at 803. If it breaks 803, then that's not a good sign. But it is in demand right now, and I would look for at least a bounce back up here to 11 bucks. But again, if it already completed 5 waves, it could come all the way down here to 5 bucks, and it wouldn't be that surprising. So, oh, Mara, got to go over this. Mara is setting up pretty nicely here. Looks to me like a 5-way move potentially. However, this did come back down here below. So in last week's video, I was saying this could either be a C wave down or this is a second wave. It looks to me more like a corrective move now because this bounced so high. I said if it was going to go down lower, it'd have to go like this, like that. But instead, we bounced from 17 all the way to 23. So I would actually put more weight in the fact that this could be something like this. Remember, the target is 45 bucks minimum, potentially 60. So if that's the case, then I would be looking for this probably to come back down here to this demand zone at 19 to 17 bucks, and then take off after that. We got to look at Bitcoin though, what Bitcoin's going to do. I still think Bitcoin can come down a little bit more. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with Mara because Mara is leading Bitcoin for the most part. It's making these moves before Bitcoin does. So I'll go over Bitcoin here in a second. Actually, right now. So Bitcoin, I think Bitcoin is very likely this is going to happen. Like that. So that kind of gives you an idea what the overall market's going to do too, probably. We're probably going to come up a little bit higher, and then it's going to sell off. This actually favors NVDA and those stocks being in a B wave, and then selling off hard into April, and then melting up. So that gives us more time for the dollar to fall and stocks to go to new all-time highs. So Bitcoin, I have it going to 57,000. Which is a 50 DMA. It's a little bit short of the 1.61 fib, but it looks to me like it's probably in a C wave or starting a C wave here. So don't be surprised to see this back up here around maybe around 70,000. It could be a 70,000 by, let's see, it could be 70,000 by tomorrow. If we get this impulse move playing out, 70,000, and then I'd be looking for probably something around 57,000. We zoom out here. The same length of the second wave to the fourth wave is about 57,000, and then I would expect a melt up to 100,000. So again, Mara, it might be bearish short term, but it's going to be moving pretty good here soon. So I think that's pretty much it. I don't see anything else. Palantir, I haven't done this one in a while. I feel like Palantir is kind of like early stages of like Apple or Microsoft, because the chart, it just keeps on going up. And so it's really hard to figure out the extensions. Like, it keeps on extending. Like, this move looks corrective and it keeps on going up. Could come up here to 31 bucks before it pulls back at all. So I'm not even going to try to do Elliott wave on that right now. What else? Coin, I haven't looked at that one in a while. I think that's it for me. Let me know in the comments if you have any other ones you want me to look at. I will just do a video probably next week again. Maybe a video during the week. I'll definitely do a SoFi video. But as far as the overall market, that's it for me. I'll put the timestamps in the description, and I'll talk to you guys this week.